Let's go with the starter sit segment, some hitters and some pitchers. Start with Jason Kubel. Not a terrible week 4. Nothing great, though.
Yeah.
Starter sit.
I like him this week. He's one of those guys with dramatic splits against lefties, righties, only facing 2 lefties in his 7 games. And the Twins I actually pegged as having the best hitting matchups this week. Best pitcher they're facing is Brian Mattis, and then after that, Max Scherzer, Rick Porcello, Jeremy Guthrie. So it's pretty easy opponents there.
Okay, Juan Pierre. I know we talk about him a lot, but fantasy owners expect a lot from Juan Pierre. He was, I think, 1 for his last 22 heading into Sunday. Then he got 2 hits, but he's batting .202. He looks pretty bad at the plate. What do you think about Juan Pierre? Start or sit?
He's still going to catch on eventually. I also have the White Sox down as having good hitting matchups this week against the Royals for 3 games, the Blue Jays for 4. He's stealing bases, so if you play in a league that rewards 2 points for stolen bases, he's giving you pretty consistent production, even though there hasn't been a big week yet. So I would, if you've been relying on him, I'd say you keep relying on him.
Emac, Will Venable, 1 hit in his last 5 games.
He's a streaky young player. I think you sit him in mixed leagues right now, but you don't cut him. His steals and power, I think he would be a 2020 player.
Troy Glaus, 5 hits in his last 2 games. Is he getting hot right now? Start or sit?
I think he is, and I totally wasted my quick pitch on this, not to spoiler alert. But
right,
we'll talk more about him when we get to him.
All right, but for now, start him. How about Justin Smoke? Last week we said there are probably better options out there, but he had a pretty encouraging week. Start him or sit him?
I'm going to stick with what I said. Wait till he really pops off before you trust him in a mixed league. There's just too many first base options that are going to be more productive.
All right, David Freese, third baseman, St. Louis. He's hot. Is he owned in a lot of leagues? Is he still available?
He's
another spoiler alert for quick pitch.
Oh, jeez. We should have looked ahead here, huh?
Yeah.
So you guys like him right now?
Yeah. Freese is a good player, potential AL or NL Rookie of the Year candidate. Hayward's going to run away with it, but him and Jaime Garcia, both Cardinals, are going to make some hay in that regard.
I see him as more of a stopgap guy, but maybe 20 homers, kind of
pretty
similar
good, though, at third base.
Similar Casey Blake production, probably, is what you can expect from him.
How about Derek Barton? Not hitting great, still drawing walks.
I don't like him. We've already said that stuff.
Well, I think you said if you have an OBP league.
It depends how important walks are to you, because he's obviously great at that. Hit his first home run earlier this week. I still think he could give you 12 to 15. So he's probably about in the same class as a Nick Johnson. You shudder as a Yankees fan, but he's got a hot streak coming too.
Okay, last hitter. John Buck had 3 home runs on Thursday. Start or sit? Ride this hot catcher?
Well, at catcher, I mean, if you need help at that position, and plenty of people do, he's worth picking up. But you're talking about a career 230 to 240 hitter. Always had some pop, but he's not going to stay hot for long.
His homers come in bunches, too. He's one of those guys you could pick up if you had Joe Mauer and you're without Joe Mauer now.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask about that because just looking in our podcast league, there were some interesting names. Pudge Rodriguez, Rod Barajas, Buck. I picked up Snyder, Jason Kendall, John Jaso. Does anybody stand out as a really good replacement for Mauer? Well, if he goes on the DL.
Pudge must have really cooled off. Why is he unowned? I guess.
Yeah, well, he leads the free agent catchers in fantasy points.
And what's interesting about that list, I see A.J. Pierzynski's down there. He might actually be the best, even though he's had a bad year so far. What's interesting about that list, nobody stands out to you. This is a 12-team league where everybody starts one catcher. So if anything, there's going to be more catchers available in this league than the vast majority out there. So that just shows you how little is out there.
Ready for pitchers? Start or sit these guys. Brad Lidge.
I'll start him in a deeper rotisserie league.
Okay. Scott Kazmir. Nice start.
He had a nice start last time out.
I like him. Scott White hates him.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't have him, but if you have him, I think you start him.
All right. Aaron Cook.
He's frustrated me. He had that one great start, and then he has a bad start. I think his matchup this week is decent. So you could take a flyer on him, but I'm just so frustrated with him, I don't even want to touch him.
Last week, Josh Beckett was a 2-start pitcher. I think, Emac, you had him less than a must-start, but advisable.
Right.
He had a good outing on Sunday against Baltimore. Still, the curveball's not great for him. What do you think about
Facing
week
the
5?
Yankees, I still keep him out there. I actually saw he gave up a couple of runs in his start, and I was doing the pitching planner on Sunday, and I was about to put him as a down arrow, but then he ended up settling down and going deep into the game. So he's fine to run out there against the Yankees.
What about Edwin Jackson? 2
No.
dreadful starts this
Oh.
week.
Putrid.
Yeah,
6
he's
1/3,
scaring me
18
now.
runs in week 4.
Right, and you look at 5.07 ERA in the second half last year. Had
Yeah.
an awful spring. He struck out like 6 batters all spring. That's 4 months now of really bad pitching.
So
You
we're
know,
sitting him in week 5, I assume?
Sitting him in week 5 and beyond that, if
Yeah.
you play in a shallow enough league where there's still some sleepers out there, and I know like in our podcast league there is, I might be looking to drop him even.
Yeah.
I
I agree with
I'm
what you
definitely thinking about it. I also saw Yolis Chassin had a great outing for Colorado on Sunday, today.
How did you say that?
It's
Yolis.
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 Yes.
Excellent.
I did look that one up. 'Cause I know we've had some different pronunciations for Yolis Chassin. But what are your
I call him
thoughts on him?
Jahulis.
Yeah, I don't even remember what you said. Now we know it's Yolis. What do you think about him?
I like him as a sleeper in deeper leagues. I don't think I got him as a start this week though.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't see how dominant he was on Sunday when I was doing the pitching planner, but
Right.
take a flyer on him. There's talent there.